Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to episode 28 of the Tait Talks podcast. I am your host, Tait Middleton. Today we have a returning guest, but before I introduce him, I would just like to give a plug to my good friend Aidan Nicholson. His podcast is called Aidan Meets Interesting People. He was on this podcast on episode 21 talking about his 18 months living in Korea and 5 years living in China. His podcast is very similar to mine. He just chats to interesting people. So far, he's had a musician, motorbike racer, tattoo artist, people who do other types of art, comedians with mental health issues, and I think he just spoke to a gentleman with muscle dystrophy. So check out his podcast on YouTube and all good podcast fucking apps, I guess. Welcome to the episode, the legendary part 3. Todd Eldridge, how are you, mate?
Tait, good afternoon. How's it going?
Pretty good, mate. It's great to have you back on the podcast. You've been very well received. Got many messages from my adoring fans saying that was a ripping episode. So you're back for part 3.
Part 3, yeah. This is exciting. It's a good walk down memory lane, actually.
Yeah. So part 1, I should say, we spoke to you about, you went to Tomorrowland. It was your first trip overseas. You got dudded out of your tickets, unfortunately. Never got to go to Tomorrowland. So it can't ruin the trip.
Yeah, pretty well that did, yep.
Unfortunately, you didn't do Running with the Bulls either. So the trip was, I suppose, good, but you didn't do a couple of the things you really set out to do. That was in part 1. I can't remember. What do we call that? Tomorrowland. Part 2, you went back for redemption. You got to go to Tomorrowland. You did Running with the Bulls. What else you do?
Amsterdam, Ibiza, Greek Islands.
Yeah.
Yeah, that trip was shit all over the first one.
Yeah. So that now you're up to date, listeners. If you are a new listener, you can find these episodes on YouTube as well, and pretty much every other podcast app. You've obviously found it somewhere right now that you're listening to the fucking thing, but it is everywhere else. So just, tell other people, hey, and give it a like or a fucking, it's on Instagram and all that fucking bullshit.
Get amongst it.
Yeah, just fucking, I need more followers, all right? Todd, this one is Canada. This is where we met. I should say we've moved into our new townhouse in Fremantle.
Yeah, so it's been a few weeks between episodes because we've been had shit all over the place the last month or so, haven't we? But
yeah.
We're in and set up now. So
we are. We're sitting in our new lounge room opposite the busiest fucking intersection in the world, just behind us, where they're making a giant fucking roundabout, which you might hear tradies and cars and whatever fucking else under the sun wants to make noise.
It's louder than a skeleton wanking in a biscuit tin, isn't it?
Yeah, it is, mate. Definitely is. Set him up for that one. All right, Canada. We've just got back from fucking when you did the bridge climb. You met Shannon Knoll. You became best friends.
Yeah, that was in like the September.
Yeah.
So then I've gone back to Adelaide. I think I was there like literally like a weekend, and then I took off up near Brisbane for a bit of work.
Yeah.
And then December, just before Christmas, I finished that job and then had 2 or 3 weeks back in Mount Gambier. And then the middle of January,
What year are we, sorry?
2017.
Okay.
So it's the day after my 26th birthday, actually. I flew out of Adelaide.
Yeah. We're flying to Canada?
Yeah, via Auckland.
Yeah.
Via Auckland. So I actually knew a bloke on the flight from Auckland to Vancouver.
What, did you go with him or you just
saw
him on the plane?
No, I saw him at the airport in Auckland.
Shit.
So we just knocked back a heap of beers together before that flight, but then he ended up not getting on it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I don't know if I told you that story. No, he took someone's boarding pass off the flight before because they were like, "Oh, I've got another flight. You want my boarding pass? You can get into the Qantas Lounge and drink free beers." So he's taken the pass, gone in there drinking, And I think we actually knew that we were on the following flight. So when I've got to the airport, he's like, yeah, I'll come down and grab you and we'll come up and we'll drink for free. Well, we get back up there and someone that obviously swapped over security on the door, and the lady was like, where's your passport? He's like, oh, because it wouldn't have matched the name on the boarding pass or something like that. He's like, oh, it's in the lockers downstairs. And she's like, we don't have lockers downstairs. And then he's like, he sort of panicked and grabbed his thing.
Started crying.
We went back to one of the other bars, and then all the security came down, were like checking everything, and yeah, he didn't get on the plane anyway.
That is fucked. Just because.
Yeah, well, I guess he's got a boarding ticket that says one name and a passport that says the other.
Yeah.
So
yeah, that's fucking annoying though, isn't it? To not let him go on the flight as well.
Mm.
I would have just said the story and be like, listen, someone gave it to me. They said I could do it. I was just in here.
Oh, I think he tried that, but they were all over him. So
that's fucked.
Yeah, he missed out.
Yeah, all right. So you did you know anyone, like, how come you decided to go to Canada?
I actually can't remember, mate. I think I must have been talking to my mate, Flynn Bowshaw.
Yep.
Absolute legend of a bloke. He was living over there at the time. Actually, he had been there were three other Mount Gambier guys that were over there. I think Flynn was the third one. So then I think their legacy just carried on. I knew the other two, obviously, and I think I must have just hit him up one day, and he sort of said, look, if you book your flight, I'll sort the rest out for you.
Yeah.
So I got over there and landed, and he came and got me from the train station. I obviously didn't have anywhere to stay at the time, so...
Yeah, where were you staying?
On his floor for about a week, and then there was still a few more weeks till someone in their house was moving out, so I just shot off to Banff and Calgary for about a week over the Australia Day weekend in 2017. So that was nice because I sort of went to this hostel and there was a group of Aussies there, and we went down to the pub and the Triple J countdown was on.
Really? Triple J?
Yeah.
Oh, I would have said it on the internet. Well, that's pretty cool. So then you got back to glorious Vancouver and you started working somewhere?
Yeah, so I went, that's when I would have started at TGE.
Yeah.
Who you've worked for them.
I did, yeah. Glorious company, Total Ground Effects.
And I remember my first day of work there, mate, it was like, because this would have been early February, so it's in the middle of winter. Yeah, freezing. Like, cold enough to freeze the balls off a brass monkey type thing. And I was working this job, it was $15 an hour, and we're literally carting buckets of pebble from the alleyway up to the fourth floor because they're building a playground up there. And the crane had gone off site. Like my arms by the end of the day were like so sore, my forearms.
Yeah.
And I just remember thinking, I've just left a job in Australia that pays, $2,500 a week to this fucking job, $15 an hour in the snow, carting pebbles upstairs. I remember being like, shit, have I really made the right decision here? But that was, I didn't really know anybody and it was all new. But after a few months, it got better, obviously, when footy season started. So
so February. So that, I was just going to say, that would have been one of the hardest things for you to make good money in Australia and then to go on. Like when I started at TG, I was on a little bit more. I think the pay had gone up. But it wasn't crazy different to what I was making, But the rent's so high that you make fuck all money. It just doesn't make any sense over there.
No, I don't know how some people survive on it.
Yeah.
We ended up getting labourers in that following day to lift those carry that rock up, and they were on $10.80 an hour for memory, which I think if you do 40 hours a week, it's not even $400, which is nuts. I don't know how you live on that.
Yeah,
I really
tax
don't.
you'd get. Yeah, it is bonkers, but it is what it is over there. It makes you appreciate how good Australia is.
Oh, yeah.
Wages and stuff like that. So it's February. You've got a room now. You're not sleeping on the floor.
Yeah, I got a room now. Yeah. So and I'd met a few of the boys that Flynn had known. Like you become like family very well straight away with blokes over there. I remember Grant. He rang me. One of the boys, Grana, good lad, another shout out to him. Yeah, he didn't even know me, and he got my number off Flynn and rang me up one of the first weeks I was there. Like, mate, I'm coming to pick you up. We're going out. Me and him went out and got on the beers. Like,
really?
Went out. I blew like $500 that night at the Roxy on Granville. Like it just, and then I'm thinking, well, that's a week's wage. I can't do that every week. But you just sort of made mates, and then obviously footy season rolled around in April.
Yeah. Mighty Cougars.
So for the mighty Vancouver Cougars Australian Football Club.
Yep. Which we have the Guernsey on the wall now.
We do, yeah. A lot of good blokes were met through there, as you could vouch for.
Yes, it's the only reason I am sitting across the room from you right now, which is pretty incredible that a footy club overseas has done so much for a lot of Australians, I would say, or internationals. But
although you weren't there 2017,
I wasn't there. So
you missed out on we actually won the premiership that year.
And then I came and the team went to shit.
Yeah, it was a lot different that second year, wasn't it? But
it was hard to just keep a full team.
We only played one game together, but
we did. Yeah. Well, I think you had come back from Central America, which is going to be another episode on this podcast. And I heard so many stories about the infamous Todd Eldridge. I hadn't actually met you, but heard so many stories, seen you on FaceTime. You were getting max fined every week for the shenanigans you were doing in Central America, which was pretty funny.
Yeah, that was a pretty wild trip, that one.
Yeah, which we will get into. So you're playing footy, you meet all the boys. You're, 3 or 4 months now into Canada?
Yeah, well, I wasn't going to play, obviously, because I've had a long history of back troubles, but we went down to Seattle one day. The season might have been 4 or 5 games in.
Yeah.
We went down to Seattle because the Seattle have a team. So, road trip down into America, and we go out on the piss on the Friday night and got the game Saturday. And I think we were short, and they're like, "Oh, Toddy, you want to have a kick?" And my back was feeling quite all right. And then I've gone on. What could come of it? I'll be right, surely.
Yeah.
We go on the field and just really lit a fire inside of me, mate. I hadn't played footy for 4 or 5 years, and
you were genuinely decent at football in your younger days.
Yes, and I snagged a goal.
Yeah,
down in Seattle, and
did you win?
Yeah, we did. Yeah,
oh,
yeah, and then we had a good night that night. I think because you go back to their sponsor pub. I can't remember what it was called in Seattle. It was like the Emu and two various
Australian whatever it might be.
And then spent the night out in Seattle. Went to that bar where Kurt Cobain was last seen alive.
Really?
Linda's or something it's called in Seattle. Yeah.
Jeez. So footy obviously you're playing that, you're enjoying it. You obviously ended up playing the rest of the season.
I only played maybe 5 or 6 games that year because I went to Coachella. I missed games there.
Coachella?
I shot over to Europe for 5 weeks.
Again?
Yeah. And
jeez, so you went to Europe 3 years in a row?
Yeah, I went to Europe 3 years in a row, yeah.
So I don't know what path we're on here now, but going to Coachella a bit, what was that like? Because obviously you did Tomorrowland. And you love that. So what's the difference? I have no idea of these festivals. What's Coachella like compared to Tomorrowland? Is it a different type of music? What is it?
Similar sort of music, I suppose.
Where actually is it?
It is in California.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I can't remember the name. East of LA. Palm Springs, sorry. Yeah. Palm Springs, yeah. So we actually stayed there in an Airbnb. I went down with a bloke him and a few mates. I knew him when I lived in Adelaide, but I hadn't seen him for about 4 years, and he hit me up. He's like, "Mate, we've got a spare ticket. Like, I know you're living in Vancouver, similar part of the world." Yeah. So I jumped on their trip, met him in LA, and, we've jumped in this car, driven out of LA, which that was quite hairy. Like, it's busy as the traffic in LA.
Yeah.
But yeah, we get out to this Airbnb in Palm Springs, and I'd never stayed in an Airbnb to this point, and it had cameras set up. And we're a little bit like, oh, that's a bit fucking weird, isn't it? And the owner was like, oh, it's just for our protection. It's like, well, there's one in the lounge room while we're sitting there watching telly.
Yeah.
They're like, they're not on, but I don't know, like it was a bit.
Yeah, that's very. I honestly don't think you could do that now, because they're under the scheme of like insurance of Airbnb. So it's like, well, anything happens to your house, we'll fix it. Or the person who was renting it will pay in
Yeah.
some capacity. So like, you don't have to go Big Brother and watch everyone.
Yeah, that's what
So
it felt
it's
like.
very off-putting.
But we had like the VIP package at Coachella, so we camped on the grounds.
Yeah. No wristwatches this time. No.
It was all
No.
cash, I think. It was cash.
Yeah.
At Coachella.
How can I ask how much the tickets to Coachella would set you back?
They were $1,800 for VIP, but
Yeah.
because they were having trouble sell this ticket, they give it to me for about half price. So I was pretty stoked.
Oh,
'cause-
really?
Yeah.
Sick. So you got to get a sweet trip and go full VIP for like half price.
Yeah.
that's
I
awesome.
didn't rate Coachella as much as I did Tomorrowland.
Yeah.
Just American rules are a lot different to Europe in terms of what you can get away with and what you can't. So,
Yeah.
but I actually bumped into Dane Swan, believe it or not, at Coachella.
Oh, what?
Yeah,
Swanee.
Actually, I probably haven't told you the story. A funniest story because I was going off my Canadian SIM card, right,
Yeah.
which worked in the States.
Yeah.
And on the second day of the festival, I wore my Hawthorn jersey, and the two guys I was with are Melbourne and Collingwood. So we've all wore our jerseys that day, and it was funny. People were yelling out shit like, there's obviously Aussies around there and whatever. And then I've gone into the toilets, and I've fucking bumped into Dane Swan.
Was he racking?
I have a photo of it actually.
Did he look flustered?
Well, he was
he walking out of a cubicle
He was
with
coming
other
out of a
guys?
cubicle, yeah. And he sees me. He's like, and I see him. And it was actually Easter Monday, believe it or not.
Oh, really?
So you know who plays on Easter Monday?
Yeah, Catters and Hawks.
Yeah. And anyway, I said, we're talking about the footy, and what the fuck's wrong with Hawthorn? Like, we've just come off a three-peat 2016, because this is 2017, where we wwent to shit.
Is he retired then? Sorry, was he still playing?
He first year retired because he just went on that huge trip.
Yeah.
And we get up, like I was like, oh, my phone's working, I'll get up the footy score. Get up, and Hawthorn are getting belted by about 90 points this Easter Monday, and good old cackle, had a photo together, and off he went. But yeah, some Shannon older Dane Swan.
That's the only celebrity I saw, or minor celebrity I saw when I was in all of LA was Nick Maxwell.
Oh yeah,
all fucking people at
right.
the airport. Yeah, LA airport. He must have finished that season. The granny had been done for about, I don't know, like 3 weeks or something. And I literally was just like, that's fucking Nick Maxwell.
Yeah?
It's the only person
Did you
I
say
saw.
hello?
Nah, it's fucking.
He was a shit captain, wasn't he?
Would you say 1982 or whatever, or 1882, that was the worst captain you reckon ever to be in the AFL?
Yeah, he couldn't.
VFL, AFL?
He couldn't lead a Bucks party to a fucking pub, mate.
He's shit. I don't really want to talk about him on the podcast, to be honest. But if he wants to come on the podcast, I mean, Nick, like, come on, mate. Maxie, get in there. So you saw Dane Swan, had a good cackle with him. Then Coachella, how long does that go for?
That was for 4 days, but I think I was in LA for 3 or 4 after that, where we went to a Dodgers game. And
did you rate LA? I've been a couple of times. What did you think of it?
it was busy, and it's so big. It's so big, like it takes an hour to get from A to B.
It literally, there is. So I was lucky enough to go in 2019 with good old Timmy Tobin, our good mate. But it was crazy that after like 3:30, I think, on any day from Monday to Sunday type thing, that let's say a trip would take 15 minutes in an Uber, it would take an hour, because that's how bad the traffic was every day. Like you had to literally make your plans around the traffic, peak times of traffic, or you'd go like, all right, the traffic's fucked now, we'll sit at the pub for an hour and a half. Like it's crazy. Like I could not fathom how bad it was.
Yeah, I can remember flying in there actually and looking out the window, and
houses on top
because
of
it was
each other.
Easter weekend. They have the same Easter as us.
I'm not too sure.
Yeah, I think they do. They just don't get Good Friday, but just the traffic on the highways, I could not believe it. Like,
Yeah, it was
was-
gross. Like Perth's fucking bad, complain about that, but like that's 6-lane highway type thing, and you're just like, why are we stopped?
Yeah.
Like this is ridiculous. But I mean, the population must be like fucking what, 40 million or something ridiculous.
Yeah, I don't know what the population is.
It would have to be fucking more than Australia, I reckon. At
these
least
in-
25, I'm going to say.
Yeah, I don't know. I know New York's about 17. I thought that was bigger.
Oh, okay.
Possibly.
Well, I'm totally wrong then. But it seems like it's a lot. It's fucked. It's just fucked.
Yeah, too many people.
I don't think I could ever live there. I mean, I don't know. If someone was like, do you want to live in LA? I'd probably do it. But, so, all right, you finished Coachella. Any interesting things happen? You went to a Dodgers game?
Yeah, I went to a Dodgers game, and then I literally got back to Vancouver, and I think 3 days later we took off to Sun Peaks for another 4-day festival, which was called Snow Bombing.
Yeah.
Which was really, really cool. We, about a group of 10 of us, got a house on the mountain. Like, I'm kidding you not. You take one step out your front door, you're on the slopes straight into the lodge and that, yeah. And that went for another 4 days. That was pretty cool because, you're like in a mosh pit in your...
Where was that, sorry? Where's Sun Peaks?
Near Kelowna.
Near Kelowna, okay.
Yeah.
So not too far from Vancouver.
Nah, 4-hour drive, I think it was.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that had Ludacris headlining and
really?
Duke Jamont. And
Luda!
Yeah, it was a good little... Just something different. I've never been to a festival in the snow before, so you're wearing like your jacket and your snow pants and you're boarding during the day.
You still would have taken your clothes off though, wouldn't you?
Probably.
People who don't know Todd, he is a serial nudist when he drinks. He gets his dick out like there's no Me Too stuff, but he just likes showing off what he's got.
Nothing like getting in your birthday suit, is there, after a couple of sherbets?
Yep, I've seen it in the short time I have lived here in what is it now? 6 weeks? No, more than
There's
that.
only 3 months you've been here.
Yeah, fuck. I've seen your dick a lot, is what I'm trying to say. in that short amount of time, there's been a lot of Todd dick getting around. You're back in Vancouver. Actually, no, you're in fucking Sun Peaks. You enjoy that. You see Big Ludacris. Anything else happen there? No avalanche, no fucking...
Nah, that was a pretty wild trip. That was with Grana and the boys. So,
yeah.
you know those blokes, they're quite wild, but...
They like a sherbet, as you would say.
Like a sherbet, yeah. So that would have been around the time we went to Seattle.
Yep.
So that first 6 months quite jam-packed. It was, come back to Vancouver, work a couple of weeks...
You just love it.
Doing another
now?
trip because you got all this money. You go with all this money,
Yeah.
and you got places in the world that like New York's like $300 return flight.
Yes.
I went to Vegas. Vegas was a couple of $100 return. Like everywhere was just so accessible. Like it was all right every second weekend trying to find something to go and do. And we went to Cancun for me, Timmy, Tommy, and Lovey.
Yeah.
Went down to Cancun for a week via the Calgary Stampede. Now, if anyone hasn't been to the Calgary Stampede, definitely chuck that on your bucket list. That's
yeah, I didn't go.
You didn't go.
I wish I went. There's always one thing that you like really regret that you didn't go, and like where did I go? I think I went my trip up to Alaska. It was the same time as the Stampede.
Yeah, probably because it's in the middle of July.
Yeah.
But that's not something that I necessarily was into. Like it's country music, it's all cowboy stuff, but we've just dressed up as cowboys and the whole town.
Girls' boots.
Yeah, the whole city just goes nuts for a couple of days. Like going to the beer tent. And,
become a cowboy.
Yeah, pretty well. Yeah, become a cowboy. But I don't know what we've done. We've somehow fucked up our accommodation yet again, and we got kicked out.
Oh, really?
We thought we had another night booked, but we didn't. So we got kicked out with a night to go. But I think Timmy and Tommy were flying to Cancun in Mexico that day or later that night, but me and Lovey weren't till the following morning.
Yeah.
So we've been kicked out. There's no accommodation in Calgary.
Mm.
So we're like hungover as, dressed as cowboys, nowhere to sleep. So end up just going to the Calgary airport and sleeping the night on the tiles there.
Sick.
Or dressed as cowboys still, like fly to Mexico dressed as cowboys. Like. And then we get down to Cancun. That was a good trip. Like first time in Mexico and
yeah, it's kind of like what I've heard. It's a little bit like Indo, like for Indonesia.
Yeah.
For Australians, I guess. Like everyone goes down there just to party and stuff, and exploit how cheap everything is, I should say.
Cancun's very commercialised now, though. You're better to go like an hour south to Playa del Carmen or Tulum that aren't quite westernised, I suppose. And things are a lot cheaper.
Yeah. Did you guys stay in a resort?
No, we stayed at a hostel.
Oh, really?
Actually, it was run by a lovely Argentinian couple. Just a house pretty well that was transformed into a hostel. And they'd fire up like an Argentinian barbecue every night. And it only held 20 or 30 people, so you generally knew everyone. You can sort of trust the people that are there. But
they are nice hostels. I've had a few of those through Europe and meeting, and a couple in South America too. But yeah, you actually make decent friends.
Yeah.
Which is pretty cool.
So then, I mean, probably need to get more into the footy side of it. So you're going back to Vancouver, and like, as you know, every weekend with the footy club, there's always, and that I do miss that about that, you know, having that. You go into the pub here, you're probably going to get 4 or 5 blokes, but over there it's like every weekend something's planned. There's 25 people keen.
Yeah.
Like there's
always something.
Yeah, and then the summers
Hard to save money.
The summers in Vancouver are, you know, it's daylight till 10:30 at night.
Yeah.
Just every night there's something going on. It's
a buzz because
carefree lifestyle, yeah.
It's a buzz throughout summer in Canada because it's such a shit fucking weather time. You know, what do you got? 9 months of the year is just shit.
Yeah, pretty well.
So once that sun comes out, people become different people. Like we have to maximize this summer as much as possible because we're going into like misery, cloudy, fucking rain. Like for the people who don't know and never been to Canada or more the west coast of Canada, it rains all the fucking time. All the time. And it's cold. It doesn't snow that much unless you're on the fucking mountains, but it fucking rains and it gets you down.
Well, you'd rather it snow, right?
For sure.
Rain gets you wet, whereas snow doesn't necessarily.
Especially working at TGE when you're landscaping. That's what the company was. So you're out in the elements. And
freezing cold, shivering like a dog shit in a pine cone. $15 an hour.
Yeah, I mean, the people that I worked with are absolutely fantastic, as you fucking, you can contest. But
good old Shezza, shout out to him. He's a legend of a man.
He's the main man there. But it's just that rain just destroyed me. I thought, I don't mind, it'll be fine. But like when you're getting up and the first thing you do is put on wet boots.
Wet boots, and
you're just like, my feet are wet, and I'm just sitting in the car. It's demoralizing. Fuck, makes you so dejected for the rest of the day. You're like, fuck this shit.
Yeah.
It is what it is.
See, in the first season, because it takes a while. I got there in January, so, snow season's probably till April. I didn't really know anyone or have contacts, but the second season I enjoyed the winter a lot more because we'd bought a car and snowboards and a mountain pass. So I was getting home from work and going up to the mountain, because the mountains are open till 10 o'clock at night. So we jump in the car. It's about a 40-minute drive from our driveway. Yeah. Have dinner up at the lodge on the mountain. So cool. I thoroughly enjoyed the second winter a lot more because of, you'd sort of made contacts and sort of set your life up there really by that stage. But
yeah, you literally, you are ingrained with, and, you just think Canadian too. One of the things that we got to fall back on is we played footy, so 90% of our mates were Australian, English, Irish type thing. So all similar sense of humour and stuff like that. So you could kind of put your hair down and didn't have to be like, don't say cunt, don't say cunt, don't say cunt. But that was one of the good things and the bad things, I reckon, for us. For me, I would just say being in Canada is I was with Australians all the time, which is great because we made close friends. But at the same time, I don't know if I had the full Canadian experience.
Yeah.
Especially west coast of Canada. It's a lot like Melbourne. Shitty weather. It's cities. It's full of fucking people. Whereas it would have been interesting to go to the east coast and just been snow, -40, all that type of stuff. Be like, oh, there's a fucking polar bear. It is genuinely Canada.
So you didn't get over it?
I did, but it was only in summer. I went over to I went to Montreal, but I went to Halifax,
Oh, you went that far over, did you?
and
Yeah, right.
it was just but because it was summer, it was just nice, and but I wanted to kind of experience the crazy snow and the
Yeah,
absurd cold.
-40.
Like you went up to Whitehorse, didn't you?
Went to Whitehorse. Yeah, that was the last month I was over there.
Yeah,
But that was proper Canada. That's like
Yeah.
staying in a cabin in the
yeah,
middle of nowhere. I mean, we'll get to that part of the
We've jumped.
thing.
We've jumped a bit too far. Where were we? So you're in grey now. You're playing footy and stuff like that. You've made a lot of friends. Every weekend you're doing something.
Yeah, there's always something on hikes, and I got quite lucky with a Canadian girl who had sort of took a few of us Aussie boys under her wing. She showed us around a lot of the off the beaten track hikes that
Yep.
you probably wouldn't know about. So that was really nice, especially in the summer, because there's just so much to do, like with hiking and
Yeah.
all those glaciers and going
Yeah.
up to Whistler and.
Yeah.
But then I ended up, like I said, the first 6 months I was in and out of the country so much, I ended up shooting over to Europe for 5 weeks in August, September-ish. Did Greece and a couple of music festivals in Holland, and actually finished at Oktoberfest.
Oh, really?
And flew back from Oktoberfest on the Wednesday,
Yeah.
and we were playing in a grand final on the Saturday. And I think there was a little bit of
Really?
you get
a game?
Yeah, well, he's been away for 5 weeks, but I had been there for the year.
Yep.
So I got a gig. I got a game. I played horrible.
Did you stay on the Pine? Like start on the Pine?
I
zone?
did, yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I played shit house. Like, couldn't get a kick in the nuts in a bar fight like that. I was so bad that day. Like, a couple holding the ball straight up, and
Really?
but we ended up winning.
Did you win by much?
5 goals maybe.
Okay.
Against the Saints, yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, we've won the flag. So I mean, I'm a bit of a high off at Oktoberfest, and
Do you want a granny before?
only when I was 15, 16.
Yeah.
So before we were even drinking and that. But yeah, I got the premiership tattoo, the old Cougars tat. And then that weekend was
Yeah, that would have been a big one.
that was a
Would've been a
silly Sunday. And it was a funny story about that. So on the silly Sunday, you had to wear an outfit down to the pub, right? And it's still summer.
Yeah.
Going down to the pub, and I'd fucking been out the night before. I hadn't even bothered organising an outfit. So I ended up just throwing on all my ski gear, like middle of summer, wearing like a jacket rated to -40 beanie. And you get down to the pub, and you've got to draw a name out of a hat, and whatever name you draw, you've got to wear their kit for the day.
Yeah.
So I get down there in ski gear. Everyone's like, "Oh, are you fucking serious? Like, one of us is going to have to wear that." And big Timmy Tobin pulls my name out of the hat. So he's rolling around the pub like everyone else has got like women's underwear on, or like, next to nothing, and Timmy's in fucking full blown ski gear.
Oh, he would have hated you too. And the difference between size and Tim and you is quite a big discrepancy.
Yeah.
Tim's 6'4".
But it was just so funny. I remember when Tim pulled out, he goes, "You're kidding, look."
Oh, that is funny. So you won the granny, which is pretty awesome.
Yeah. We won.
And you got the tattoo. So you
Got the tattoo,
never
yeah.
forget it.
Yeah, that's it. Yep, that's that was what, September 2017, I suppose.
So what have you been there? So you've been there 9 months now?
9 months by now, yeah.
And you're fully like, Canadian way of life type thing. You're all in sync. You're doing you're going to work, obviously. Are you still at TGE then?
No, I just changed to a carpentry job.
Yeah. Get some better coin.
Out at I was doing houses for a little bit, and then I must have went away. Or no, I think that job ran out of work, and then I got onto another job through the winter there, which was like still to this day the easiest job I've ever had. Like working out at the ferry terminal as a standby carpenter. There's actually
standby
carpenter.
What if they just need a fence whipped up real quick or something?
No, well, they were replacing all the escalators out there.
Yeah,
and,
what are you going to do for an escalator?
All I had to do was take off a few boards so they could get a forklift in. They'd do their 8 hours work, and then I would come and put the boards back on. And it was like night shift. It was, and this is through the winter, right? So it's night shift. I'm on good coin. I'm literally sleeping in my car. The boss I had there was like the cruisiest fucking bloke. Like, he any more laid back, he would have been fucking horizontal. Like, he was just the most laid back bloke. He's like, mate, I'll just knock on your window when it's time to get up. So I'd sleep in the car for 8 hours. I'd actually go.
You're paid to sleep.
Yeah, I'd go and sit in the subway actually till midnight when it shut. Knew everyone in there's life story just because I was on the Wi-Fi there, right? Because remember how shit phone plan data were.
It's got 3 gig, 6 gig.
He'd wake me up at 5, 6 in the morning. I'd put these boards back on and I'd go home. And then because I had the days to go snowboarding.
Oh, really?
So I was going snowboarding during the day. It was like the cruisiest. Like, I did that for like 2 or 3 months.
Yeah.
That trip went over New Year's. That job, sorry, went over the New Year period.
Yeah.
And then that sort of led me into Central America. So, but a lot of that winter it was spent snowboarding. Really, that's where I sort of picked it up, and we were going all over doing it. We went down into Washington State in America and Mount Baker.
Yep. I went down there.
Banff. We went up to Banff, Sun Peaks.
So just chasing that power, brother.
Yeah, chasing that fresh
power, brother.
as I'd say, yeah. Probably 6 or 7 different mountains, I think. Like, loving
it's an expensive hobby, though, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. I mean, it's not bad in Vancouver where you get the season pass at Cyprus, but like a day pass at Whistler's like $160.
Yeah, it's fucked. That is fucked. So obviously you've done a lot of snowboarding, all that type of stuff. Actually, what I wanted to talk to you about, like you said you bought a car.
We bought a car, yeah.
What was the... So I've heard a few stories about the insurance and stuff like that. Did you pay something absurd?
Yeah, so we bought the car off... So I suppose we should give 1216 a mention first.
Oh,
This house...
Yeah.
The party house of Vancouver that was lived in by some Aussie boys, and one by one, someone's visa would run up, so someone else would jump in there, and it was a 4-bedroom place. So I ended up, of course, living in the house at some point, and we actually bought the car off the 3 blokes that lived there prior to us.
Yep.
The next 3 that sort of came in, bought the car off them, and we bought it for $1,500 or something. But to register it for a month was $240, I think.
Just 1 month was $240.
Yeah, whereas I pay less than that for 3 here.
Yeah.
With my Navara, yeah.
Yeah, that is crazy.
Yeah, it's crazy. And you're making peanuts over there anyway, like, in terms of money, so...
It's $240 a month.
$240, yeah, $240 a month. Dead set.
Is that full comprehensive?
No, I think that was, like, basic. And then we got it stolen. The car got stolen.
What?
Yeah, I remember I was laying in bed there one morning and Zach comes into my bedroom. Oh, where's the car? You seen the car? I was like, fucking out in the alleyway where it got left. Go out there, car gone. Like,
gone.
Completely gone. We rang all the towing companies. No one had seen it. And then I get a call like 2 days later from the cops. I think by this stage I'm like, it's gone. Like,
yeah.
And they're like, we found your car. Like, it's in good nick. It's just filled with syringes. So some crackhead's obviously stolen it.
Yeah.
Driven it from A to B. And it was funny. There was a snowboard in there. He didn't even take that.
Oh, really?
All he took was a power saw and a jacket, but he left the jacket in there. So he's obviously like, I'll take this one, but I'll leave mine. And
yeah. Oh, really?
Yeah, he
just swapped his jacket out.
Yeah, but it took a power saw. But
was that yours or Zach's?
The power saw was Zach's. Yeah. But left the snowboard in there as well. So.
Is that yours?
Nah, Zach's as well, I think.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, he got a jacket, so it's fine.
Yeah. He got a
hobo jacket. Fuck, that sucks. I can't believe it's $240 a month for insurance.
Yeah, a lot of
and
money.
they make fucking peanuts over there.
Yeah,
that is grotesque.
Yeah, it's
that
bullshit.
just isn't right. All right, so what year are we? Well, so I guess we're into January then. I suppose.
Yeah, we went to Portland for New Year's that year. A few of us.
Yeah.
That was a good little trip. Like a little another city in America I hadn't been to, and there then just spent the winter snowboarding. Really, like you're doing it 3 or 4 times a week.
Yeah.
And then it sort of led into about March, and that's when I took off to go to Central America. So again, like a flight, I think like a one-way flight was maybe $150 we actually flew into Cancun for
Okay.
spring break. So
Ooh, Jesus.
that was wild.
I've only seen it in the films, mainly porn. But what was it like
It's exactly like you see on...
in porn?
It's
Sweet.
exactly like you see in the movies. They're just hot birds and blokes running around on the beaches everywhere, drinking like out of plastic cups, and
Yeah.
it was unreal. Like we're just going out every night. Like
Is it expensive?
Cancun is a little bit, but a lot of the bars there are all inclusive. So you'll pay like X amount a head, which I think was like 80 American, and it's just all you can drink
Yeah, okay.
all night.
Fuck. So this was the start of your trip through Central.
Through Central, yeah. But well, I'm sure that's a podcast in itself. But
Yeah.
I was there for 3 months, and then I got back about May. So coming into the Canada, so I've been March, April, May, summer.
Yeah.
And then I've come back into Canada for the summer, and this is where me and you meet, mate.
Yes. Yeah. It was quite a... I met you at footy training.
Oh,
I remember I rocked up and you were literally wearing like some Elton John pair of sunglasses, just kicking a ball, and I'm like, "Hey mate, you're Todd, I'm Tait," and you're like, "Oh, I've heard about you. Like, I've heard about you too, mate."
Yeah, and that's for... And we only played the one game together. That
Yep, I went travelling.
you kicked a goal, and we got belted.
Yes, yep, that was a really shit fucking day. Torpy tackled this guy, and then I just jumped on him and just they're like holding the ball, and I just reefed it out of the guy's hands and was like, "Torpy, I got this, mate. Don't worry about that."
I can literally remember that. Which
Yeah.
end that was kicked? It was down the end that you drive in.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just fucking did my old just walk up approach to goal, no strut, straight through. Thanks, Torpy, if you're listening, mate. A couple of things I just wanted to mention where we get into the end of this episode. We'll go into Central America and then we'll recap the end of your Canadian trip type thing. Could you see yourself doing let's say if they had a 2-year visa for America, would you do something like that? Did you enjoy America enough to want to live, work?
No, see, I probably went into the States 8 or 9 times, but I don't think so. I think I'd rather the UK.
Yep.
I don't know. If I didn't set foot in America again, I don't think I'd be overly worried about it. Like,
So you more wanted to go to actual events rather than do the American lifestyle.
America's never been it's just never been really at the top of my list. Like, I'd much rather South America.
Yeah.
Or if I was going to live in another country, it would be the UK, for sure.
Would highly recommend that. Seeing as we get the visas and whatnot, they're pretty easy to get. I don't know what's going on with COVID, but
Well, they've upped the age to 35 now, so heard on the news the other week. So I was a bit worried. I'd missed the cutoff date of 31. Well,
I would love for them to be like, you can go back, like you could do another 2 years type thing. That would be wouldn't be good for my long term fucking prospects of being an adult, but.
yeah,
I would love to go back there and do the Canadian, fucking UK thing again. There's a lot to do. I mean, when you're saying you're nipping over to like the States for like 150 return, you're in the UK, you're nipping over to like France.
Yeah,
like
you got
fucking 30 bucks.
Yeah, 30 countries available at stone's throw. That's sort of why I want to do it.
It's crazy. It is crazy. I think we've nutted out most of the stuff. As you said, we're going to do another episode on Central America, and that's where it gets fucking pretty crazy for little Toddy. So thank you so much for coming on the podcast again, mate.
That legend, thanks for having me.
That's okay. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much. That was episode 28 of the Tait Talks podcast. Please give it a like and share, or send me money or fucking pictures of your feet, whatever. I don't give a fuck. Thank you so much. God bless, Godspeed, God's will. Goodbye. Thank you.